Greetings, everyone. It's Trey here. I'm here on this, what is it, 4th day of November, 2025. And I am here with my new friend, Parrhesia. Just met him, I think, today on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
He's somebody I met on the Darwin to Jesus thread. It was the topic was about morality and moral code. And I asked him if he would be willing to come and have a conversation, and he kindly agreed to me. So welcome, Parrhesia. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, but whenever I do these things, I like to have very informal, just conversation. And
Yeah.
I like to, if possible, to get a little bit of background to my interlocutor. Like if you could tell me something about yourself, or like I'm generally a little interested in people's religious background. And
sure.
if you want to tell me about your family, what you do for a living, or where you live, it sounds like you're from Australia.
I am, yeah.
Excellent. That's wonderful. Anything, and then I'll tell you about myself. So if you would be so
Yeah,
kind
sounds
just
good.
to give us that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sounds good. So I'm in my late 30s, unfortunately. It's creeping up on me way too quickly. I was born into a fundamentalist Christian religion. It's the name of it's rebranded since I left, so I can't really remember what it's called now. Like I said, we're
Is it a non-denominational church? Or...
That's probably it. More Pentecostal, I think, is probably the category it would drop into. The only right religion, as I remember it, and then eventually kind of drifted away from that for a number of reasons. Basically, I didn't believe in it. Essentially, was the short answer. I am an Aussie. I have a kid and a missus, and I am actually an anti-Abrahamic person. So I oppose the three Abrahamic religions, and wish to remove their influence in our society to as much a degree as is possible. How's that sound? Oh. Have I got you? Not quite sure what's happened there. Sorry, man. It still shows live on my end, but I can only see me and not yourself. I am unfortunately just driving at the moment, and I am a law-abiding citizen, so there's not too much I can do with my phone at the moment. But I'm sure the technical gremlins will clear themselves out in the not too distant future. I guess I can waffle a little bit. I don't want to waffle too much because, yeah. Let's just see. I'll quickly flip back to Twitter.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. Apologize for that.
You're.
I don't know what happened, but my side locked up. I've never had that happen before. All right, so
that's okay.
Okay, so you were telling me that you're in your late 30s, and I think you didn't get much farther than that. Oh no, yeah,
okay,
Pentecostal background. Yeah.
Yeah, fundamentalist Christian. So we did all the speaking in tongues and all of that sort of thing. And what else did I say? Yeah, and I then went on to say that I am now an avid anti-Abrahamic person who wishes to minimize the influence that the Abrahamic religions have on the modern world.
Okay, great. Are you married?
No, I'm in a long-term relationship, not married, no.
Okay, any kids?
Yes, one. On my way to pick them up from school currently.
Okay, great. All right. Let's see. Okay, I guess that's good. All right, so I'm 59 years old. Got a couple of decades on you. I've been a Christian since I was 20, and I actually became a Christian probably in a similar situation as you. You've probably never heard of YWAM, have you, or Youth with a Mission?
Of what? Sorry.
It's called Youth with a Mission. It's a youth missions organization, but it's charismatic. It's kind of like Pentecostal light, kind of like that, kind of same vein. I think so much, maybe what you had. And I became a Christian at this Christian missionary organization, and I met my wife to be down there, got married. And it was about, I live in Kansas City, and I don't even know if you know where that is, in the United States, right smack in the middle of the United States.
Yep.
Okay. And so I met my wife down in Arkansas. It's just a little bit below us here, where I'm at, and then came back here and jumped right into IHOP. Have you ever heard of IHOP, the religious movement?
No, I thought it was a fast food chain, IHOP.
Well, they named themselves after that. It's called the International House of Prayer. And just like IHOP is open 24 hours, they were going to have prayer for 24 hours to usher in the second coming of Christ.
Nice. Okay.
So it was a phony baloney. It's finally been exposed to be what it is just recently in fullness, and the whole thing has just completely exploded because it was a lie. But anyway, so I've got, and then I eventually left that. I left the Pentecostal or charismatic movement. I think it's full of charlatans and people that are dishonest. They think they're lying for Jesus. It somehow helps the cause. And so I left that movement. Now I'm a Reformed Baptist right now. And sadly, I'm divorced. My wife left me about probably 12 years ago or so. And
sorry to hear.
well, thank you. And I've got 12 kids. I've got 6 kids.
Wow.
3 boys, 3 girls, ages 35 down to 22. I'm a dental lab technician. Thank you. I'm a dental lab technician. I make teeth for a living. Make crowns and bridges, like for dentists.
Nice.
Yeah. And then what else? I like philosophy. You seem to like Euripides.
I like that one quote. I'm definitely not a philosophy guy. I would say poorly educated. So I'm not that guy. But yeah, I like that one quote, Parrhesia, from him. Yeah.
Yeah, that is nice. I am not either. I'm kind of a self-taught, but I do like philosophy, and I like thinking about the implications. You know, you mentioned the church that you were at was a fundamentalist church. And fundamentalism was born in the turn of the 20th century. It was meant to be a kind of a counteractive to liberalism, which was infiltrating the Christian church at that time. And a bunch of leaders got together, and it was out of some oil tycoons, actually, I think in California, kind of commissioned this writing of a bunch of thick pamphlets, if you will, and they put them together, and they were called the fundamentals of the Christian faith. And so they were trying to regain a historic Christian faith. And fundamentalists historically have been somewhat skeptical of the academia. So they don't really value so much education because they feel like it's kind of an incursion upon Christian faith. I'm being a little strong on it. It's not that bad, but that is how they have been characterized and actually characterize themselves. So they're very zealous in their faith, but oftentimes not very well educated and may not know their faith really well. The Pentecostal movement is very much in that fundamentalist vein, where they're very passionate about right living and respecting the Bible, but they're not really very good at answering questions oftentimes. And oftentimes, especially in Pentecostal church, there's a whole lot of hypocrisy. A lot of people that say one thing and do another. And I'm not saying they're all like that, but that is something that is a problem for that movement. But anyway, so I like I said, I was in that, and I was in which I said was the IHOP movement, International House of Prayer. It wasn't called that at the time. It was called Kansas City Fellowship back then, but it was a Kansas City prophetic movement. And it's very well known worldwide. People come from all over the world to engage in this movement. They did. It's gone now, almost completely gone now, because the founder was molesting women since its inception. They just found out like about 2 years ago. But we went there for a little bit, and they got their prophets that are supposedly speaking for God, and they had these great gifts and all this stuff. And one of them was molesting women while he was prophesying to them. And
of course,
and so at that point I said, I'm done. And actually I went to a little bit. I went to a kind of that light, a little bit light for a year, and I just finally said, no, we're done. I had enough. And so I left that whole movement. I just couldn't stand it anymore. So anyway, so I would say that I like I said, I like philosophy. I like thinking about things. There are two types of theology most people engage in. It's going to be biblical theology and systematic theology. Biblical theology is what fundamentalists really like. It's just like you just read the Bible and how does God unfold himself in the scriptures. Systematic theology, so it's going to be chronological in nature. Systematic theology is topical. So what you're doing is you're taking the Bible and you're looking at categories like, what does the Bible say about salvation, or what does it say about heaven, or whatever like that. And so it puts it in categories, but it also employs what's called philosophical theology. And you think about the ramifications of what is said in the scripture. So for example, the Trinity is not mentioned in the Bible. Oftentimes there's some Pentecostals that don't like the Trinity because it's not in the Bible, that word, but the concept is there. And so systematic theology or philosophical theology is going to say, okay, how do we make sense of this when God is three in person and one in essence? And so, and it comes up with this word, Trinity, tri, unity, three and one. And so I enjoy thinking about those things and thinking about the ramifications of what different doctrines mean in their given particular context. But anyway, all that to say is, I'm a regular old boring Christian right now, I guess. But I really like engaging my faith in the marketplace of ideas. I've been debating atheists for well over 15 years now online, and I really enjoy that. Although it's really hard to find atheists who want to have conversations. But you kind of alluded, are you? You said you were against the Abrahamic religion. So are you a theist? Are you an agnostic or a hard? You consider
I'm agnostic, so I'm definitely open to the concept of a higher power, God, if you will. I just have found it lacking, basically, any claims.
Okay, all right, great. Well, that's what I'd like to address then. All right, if I can, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen of Darwin to Jesus page. Now, did you? I can't remember. Or I didn't ask you. Are you very familiar with Darwin to Jesus? I've not seen you a lot on his posts a lot. Do you follow him a lot or comment a lot on his threads?
Every now and then. I don't think I follow it, but it pops up every now and then.
Okay, great. I didn't know who he was probably a couple months ago, but I've really enjoyed his interaction, and I've interacted with him a little bit personally, but I don't know him very well. But anyway, so he came up with this post here, and it said atheists are crashing out about this because it's absolutely true. And he's posted somebody else's post here and says, I think it follows straightforwardly from atheism that the universe is cold and uncaring, and we're just animals like all the others, and therefore can't possibly be anything right and wrong. And you genuinely are permitted to do whatever you want. There will be no final accounting. I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that it follows directly from the atheist worldview, and yet almost no atheists admit it. And then you basically said morality is subjective. And then I said that's laughably inane. Let's have a conversation. You said explain your position. So anyway, so your view is that morality is purely subjective. Is that an accurate statement regarding?
I'll just expand a little bit. So it is subjective. I believe that's kind of like the default position. You can then flesh out the idea of a subjective claim of morality based on objective things, but the actual essence of morality itself is subjective.
Okay. So when you say subjective, are you just saying there's no guiding principle to people's morality? That everybody just does whatever they want, and all subjective opinions about what is right and wrong are equal?
I'm not sure if I would say that they are equal. I would be, I guess, happy to say to the individual, yes, they're all equal. We can then, that's where we look at the objective factors that we can use to sort of flesh out an idea. So I guess if you were to say, hey, I think that it is the objectively good thing to put hot coals in your mouth, and I say, well, subjectively, I think that that's not the case, we can then sort of use objective things to determine which one sort of stands up, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the problem I have with that is that when you say that, like putting hot coals in your mouth, this is, people don't really think about this, and let me test it on you. They don't really believe that morality is purely subjective for no reason whatsoever. For example, you wouldn't say that Adolf Hitler was correct because he thought he was correct, right?
To Adolf Hitler,
I mean, you
he
wouldn't say
was
it was wrong. Yes, but you
so
wouldn't say he was wrong.
I am not pro genocide. I am anti-genocide. Yes,
But is that an
and
opinion or is that a fact?
it's an opinion.
So to you, genocide is wrong, like
Yeah,
eating broccoli ice cream might be wrong for me. It's just an
yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Okay, so do you feel like you have a right to impose upon somebody else's autonomy because they eat the wrong flavor of ice cream?
Um, because of ice cream.
Yeah, because you just said that killing Jews is the same as eating a flavor of ice cream.
Well, I said that the fact that it's an opinion is the same. I'm not saying that the two scenarios are equal, but they're both opinions. Yeah, so broccoli ice cream is an opinion. That the Jewish people should be exterminated. That's also an opinion.
Okay, so what differentiates those two in importance? You say one is more important than the other.
Well, based on my subjective view of morality, I would
Mhm.
say that one is a worse thing than the other, but it's
What?
based on my subjective views.
And what is the criteria for that?
Well, generally speaking, for me, something to be good slash moral,
Mhm.
it is a harm minimization thing,
Okay,
essentially.
so you're assuming in your moral code framework that existence is inherently special.
Um, it like a human existence is inherently special.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think
Okay.
that human beings are special, I guess,
Okay.
and I have empathy, so I know that I wish to live, and I can apply that to other people. So when someone's trying to take away their life, I can go, well, that's immoral.
Okay. So then you really don't believe that moral code is subjective. You believe that each individual determines that which best sanctifies existence. So
Uh,
it's not unchanging. You just said existence is the goal. It's not subjective.
well, it's a goal, and one of the I think what I said was harm minimization.
Right.
So, for example, in certain cases, I support euthanasia, but I don't support it in all cases.
Right. The reason you would support euthanasia is because you've given up hope, right?
Well, no, it would be if someone is in extreme suffering and there
That's what I'm
is
saying.
no.
They're
Sorry.
at the end, and there's no hope of saving them, so you
Oh,
would advocate for them. You wouldn't advocate for a 13-year-old child to kill themselves because their a boy at school rejected a little girl friendship, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So again, you're assuming the sanctity of existence, even in that, because the reason that you would advocate, I wouldn't agree with you, but I understand your purpose is that you want to alleviate suffering because life is you're going to die anyway, and all you're doing is suffering. So you just want to help them alleviate their suffering.
And again, it would be dependent on what the suffering is. So if you stub your toe, I wouldn't be like, oh, quick, here's a euthanasia clinic. It would depend.
Right, because you're not dying, and it's not something that. All right, so
it's situationally dependent. Morality is situationally dependent, and I would argue that you probably believe that too. And I'll pitch a scenario to you.
Sure.
Is killing 100% of the time immoral?
No, of course not. The Bible commands killing.
Right. So is killing
but
good
murder,
or bad?
No, murder is wrong 100% of the time, which is unjustified killing.
Okay, so homicide is wrong, but a self-defense killing is not wrong.
Right.
But so that means it's subjective.
No, it's not. It's both of those are sanctifying existence. Why would I kill somebody in self-defense? What is my goal there?
To defend yourself.
Right. To sanctify existence. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure if I'm on the page of sanctify.
I mean, just treat it special.
Preserve.
Yeah, preserve existence. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I say preserve existence, I'll say preserve existence for if that's better for you.
If that's what you mean by sanctify, then yeah, sure, you can just keep saying sanctify, no problem.
Yeah, and it's not just to make life longer, but it's actually to have fullness of life. You know, to have not just so you're breathing and having, but that you have, again, you mentioned this, alluded to this, you want to alleviate suffering and promote thriving and joy and freedom, right? Those are the things that we are seeking in this world. And that's not a subjective standard. That's one that you think that all people should follow. For example, if you know someone who finds pleasure in axe murdering people, do you think that the society should segregate and limit the freedom of that individual?
Yeah, I think that through the situational reality of going, hey, this person is trying to kill other people and he refuses to stop. Yeah, sure, you can put them in prison.
Mm-hmm. And or at the very least, to segregate them so they can't do it, because it's wrong to kill people because people are inherently valuable, right?
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Does the universe care about you?
No, I don't think so.
Then you're not inherently valuable, right?
Right. To the universe, no, but to myself, yes, and to the people around me and my family, I'm valuable.
Okay, but all you're doing there is you're imposing an opinion that is not really true because you can't bear to face the reality that life doesn't matter. So what you're doing is you're using value as a crutch to help you make it through life because you can't stand to see reality as it is. Because if there is no God, there's no value to life. Nothing matters morally.
Why?
Because it's not a fact that your life matters. It's something that you fantasize about, but it's not really true. It's not an objective fact that you matter. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's subjective. That's exactly what I believe.
It's a fact that you impose meaning upon life, but it's not really valuable objectively, right?
Yeah, correct. Ultimately, we don't matter per se.
Okay. And so why is your opinion about life mattering better than somebody who says life does not matter?
Well, it isn't. It's just that they have their opinion, I have mine.
So for you, morality is merely the strong imposing the will upon the weak. Because as long as those who value life are stronger than those who don't value life, they can impose their will upon them, right?
Run that one by me again, sorry.
Yeah. The reason for you, what you're expressing to me here is basically, it's called conventionalism, that right and wrong is merely the powerful ruling over the weak. It's not really, there's an objective standard that we're all following. It's just that my preference for living, and since I have the power, I'm going to impose my will of thriving and surviving upon those who do not like thriving and surviving, and I'm going to impose my views upon them because I'm stronger than them. That's the only reason they're different.
So you mean like the fact that we have a state with homicide laws?
Yes, it's just. Have you ever heard of conventionalism, the moral framework for that?
Perhaps, but I can't sort of
Okay,
give you a definition.
okay, that's fine. Conventionalism is basically that the majority decides right and wrong. And you alluded to this earlier when you said you want to maximize flourishing and minimize pain. And so what conventionalism basically says is that right and wrong is just a convention. It's made up by the people of the majority of a society as to what's right or wrong. But
yeah, I think it's situationally dependent, and I think it changes throughout time. Yeah.
Well, doesn't it always center around the sanctity of existence?
For some people, yeah, sure. I mean, like, again, because I believe that morality is subjective and unique to the individual, and it's situationally dependent. I believe it's a natural instinct to survive and to live for as long as possible. So I think it's a combination of like instinct and then basically just whatever you think.
Okay, so you think that we are determined to value existence?
I think basically all living creatures have a desire to live for as long as is possible and reproduce. I think that's a basic evolutionary drive.
Okay. Well, evolution doesn't give that to you because evolution doesn't have any goals.
What do you mean?
You're saying that you just stated that evolution determines that we value existence, but evolution is not personal. It doesn't have values.
Well, no, evolution is not personal. No.
Okay. Then evolution can't give you the value to desire to exist.
Well, where do you think that the flight or fright or reaction comes from?
Would you agree that
Well, hang on, where does it come from?
Well, it must come from something that is intentional, because that you're intending to live. Because unintentionality cannot intend intention. Whatever it is that determines you to value existence must itself also be a valuer.
So if you're walking through India or something like that, and a tiger jumps out from behind the wall, and you instinctively, without thinking, move out of the way or freeze or whatever your reaction to that sort of scenario is, what's the driving force behind that?
Well, let's change a little bit. I mean, I agree it's the same thing.
It's evolutionary. We reacted. We over time gained instincts and reactions to things. We can understand when we're in a situation of danger, and our natural impulse to that is the preservation of life. It's just an evolutionary product.
But I would like to make it a little more complex, because to make it more clear as to what I'm saying. Making fences around yards so that tigers cannot come in them and attack you is called intentionality. It's something you're intending to do to satisfy the goal of existence, if you will. All right. And what the evolutionary theory wants to say is that sometime in the past, I like to say, imagine this Venn diagram, this circle right here. And I say, all of the universe, everything exists is within this circle right here. All right. And sometime in the past, it was purely unintentional. There's no intention whatsoever. And what evolution basically says is that at some point in time, intentionality emerged, is the word they like to use. They say it emerged into existence. And to me, that's just magic talk. That's not reasonable. And whenever I'm coming up with any concept or I'm testing other people's ideas, I'm always putting it to the test of logical coherence, because you can't have science without logic. All right. You can't test any hypothesis unless it has first been shown to be a reasonable hypothesis that you're trying to test. Okay. So in a hierarchy of reality, you've got something logical, and then you can do empirical testing on that. All right. So if you want to say that intentionality came about unintentionally, you're violating what Aristotle would call the law of identity. Are you familiar with the laws of thought with Aristotle?
No.
or Aristotle had basically delineated three types of laws of thought. He said you got the law of identity, the law of excluded middle, and the law of non-contradiction. And these are laws of thought that don't have any content in and of themselves. They're just frameworks for us to be able to test ideas to see if they are true or not. And so the law of identity says something cannot be what it is and then something else at the same time. Or the law of non-contradiction says something cannot be and not be at the same time and in the same relationship. Like I can't be a father to my son and not be a father to my son at the same time in the same relationship. Now, I can be a father and a son, but they're different relationships, right? I'm a son to my father, and I'm a father to my son. All right. So, anytime we do anything, usually when I have these conversations, I'll ask people to grant me two things. I'll ask them to grant me the law of non-contradiction, which is just logical coherence. Because if you can't test propositions logically, then there's no inquiry, there's no science, there's no nothing. All right. It's called the principle of explosion. Everything just explodes into meaninglessness. And then I also ask for basic reliability of sense perception, not perfect perception, but just that you can basically have some connection to this world, that you can have some way of connecting to it. Otherwise, there's no way to actually test anything in this world. And everybody always grants me those, and I'm sure you'll grant me those as well. But what you're doing, when you're saying that intentionality emerged, you're violating the law of identity. You're saying that unintentionality at some point in time intended intention, and you're saying it does the very thing that it is defined as the opposite of. So
and I definitely have some problems with the theory of evolution. That's I'm not too proud to say that. Definitely, there are some issues with the theory. However, if we go back to the example that I gave of the tiger and your natural reaction to it, where does that come from?
Well, it cannot come about unintentionally. That's my whole point. In other words, I don't think evolution is like inadequate for answering questions necessarily. I think it's stupid. It's something that's wonderful for the 19th century. We're living in the 21st century now, and it has no understanding of metaphysics. And if we had time, I could talk to you about how
just so I can sort of understand your position a bit better. You're a pure creationist. God created everything.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
It's the only thing that makes any coherent sense.
When the prior to the fall of man, was there any form of predation?
There was generation and decay.
Well, but predation, was there any form of predation on planet Earth?
Can you give me an example?
So, like, were sharks eating fish before the fall of man?
No. There was generation and decay, though. There was not violence. It was a probationary period.
So, do you believe? How old do you think the Earth is?
I'm a young Earth creationist, so less than 10,000.
Less than 10,000 years. So, how do you sort of say that the scientific method is valid, but then you don't accept that scientific dating?
What do you mean?
Well, the Earth has been carbon dating has shown things to be much older than 10,000 years, but you presumably reject that.
Well, carbon-14 dating doesn't show that, but radiometric dating does.
Sure.
Yeah, and
when you think that's wrong?
Whether I'm right or not around this, I'm not backing off from it. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of changing the subject, but I'm happy.
It definitely matters.
It does matter. And
I'll tell you why. Because if you're saying that sharks were vegetarians or whatever prior to the fall of man, then you would have to explain how that all changed.
Yes.
Right, but we've got fossils that predate 10,000 years of carnivorous sharks.
Well, the dating, the way that the radiometric dating is you take something similar from that era, and then that is used as the standard by which you measure it. So it's subjective.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the methodology that we've currently got and is the accepted version of dating things.
Right.
So unless you're saying that all of that science is wrong and you completely reject that, you then wouldn't be allowed to utilize that scientific technology to validate any claims of the Bible. So I'd just like to get that one early in place. Is carbon, or is the radiocarbon dating valid, or is it not?
Well, I think carbon-14 dating certainly is, but when you're also doing radiocarbon dating, you're measuring the half-life of something, and there are many geochronometers that we can say that are they show a very, very, very old Earth. For example, the light from stars that are hundreds of thousands or maybe even millions of light years away, and we're seeing it now. In order for the light to get here, it would take millions of years. And so the challenge for me is to say, well, how in the world can we see this star if the light takes that long to get here? But the Bible says that when God created the universe, he made it with maturity. He did not make it in a seed form where it grows. Adam and Eve were fully, and it clearly tells us that they were made as fully formed human beings. So
I apologize if I misheard you here, but I just wanted to get like a simple yes or no. Is the scientific dating method that we use valid or not?
You mean valid for if it's saying that the universe is 14 to 18 billion years old, and those things which say that they are, and it's not, then it can't be correct.
Okay, so for the example I'll give is the shark fossils that we found from hundreds of millions of years ago. Valid, not valid?
Not valid.
Not valid. So that's not true?
No, because there are presuppositions built into that. Well, again, oftentimes you're measuring the half-life of a mineral or a radiometric material within that. You're presupposing that it start out at a full position of that. And
sure. And so, that's fine if you want to dismiss that. But I then going forward, if there's any mention of archaeological proof of the Bible, I would then say that has to be dismissed also.
Why is that?
Well, if you're saying that it's not valid for the shark fossils, it can't be valid for the Jesus stuff.
How so? How does the dating have anything to do with that?
Well, if we're using the same technique.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're saying
there's no contradiction whatsoever there.
So maybe I'm not quite understanding then. So if we use technique A to determine that shark fossils are hundreds of millions of years old, and then we use technique A, the same technique, to determine that a certain scripture from the Bible is from a certain time frame, that is valid to you. Is that right?
To say that the scriptures are when the Bible says that they are is nobody contravenes that, not even evolutionists.
Well, hang on. We're talking about the dating process, because how did they date the Dead Sea Scrolls?
They used carbon-14 dating, I think, but carbon-14 dating is only good for a short period of time. It's not radiometric dating. It's not the same dating that we're using for a lot of the super old things. It's not. This is not controversial at all.
Okay, well, maybe I'm not like I'm not going to try and pretend like I'm super familiar with the process of dating things, but is there not a genuine scientific consensus that we can, to some degree of accuracy, date objects that we find in the dirt?
Yes.
Yeah, and what is that method called?
Well, they're going to use carbon-14 dating. As I stated, that's for shorter term determination, not for super long term.
Why?
That's just the way it is. I don't know exactly how it works, but carbon-14 dating is not good for super long term. It doesn't work.
Well, how long?
I don't know. I can look it up here.
Yeah, because I mean, if we're going to say it's valid for roughly 3,000 years, if we're testing back that far, yeah, I'd like to sort of have a parameter that we're working within, I think.
Okay, so it's the method determined by the half-life of carbon-14, approximately 5,730 years.
And what's the method that they use for the stuff that they claim is 100 million years old?
It's radiocarbon dating. It's different.
Okay. And if you've got the, because I can't pull anything up right now, sorry. If you've got it there, what is the difference?
I don't know. I just know that it's, wait a minute, let's see. So carbon-14 dating is good for determining the age of any object, organic material using the properties of radiocarbon, radioactive isotope of carbon. Developed 1940s. The radiocarbon dating helped verify the authenticity of Dead Sea Scrolls. It's even in this Wikipedia article.
Yeah.
So,
because and this is obviously my lack of understanding. I thought that there was essentially, for all intents and purposes, a methodology that they use. They dig something out of the ground and go, we have a method to determine how old this is. I don't think anyone ever said it is to the day exactly this date or anything like that. But it's a general time frame sort of thing. But my impression was that there was one method. The fact that there's multiple methods is kind of new to me, and that's, I guess, why I want to determine why is one valid to you and the others not.
Well, like I said, one is for short-term measurement, and the other one is for super long-term.
Yeah, but why do you think that only one of those is valid? Would I be able to suggest it's because it fits your worldview?
Well, to say that, like, I'm not very well versed in the long term, and even radiocarbon dating, carbon-14 dating. I'm not super knowledgeable in that.
No, that's cool. I'm not either, and I've tried to sort of be open about that, so it's not like it got you anything.
Yes, but even if I am wrong, I've never heard anybody who's an old Earth creationist, who's a Christian, who has been compelling to me to say other than they want to conform to the scientific consensus. And when I read the scriptures, I don't see how you can come up with an old Earth.
Not from reading the scriptures, you couldn't. But
right.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to be faithful to what the Bible says, I've got to be, in my opinion, I've got to be a young Earth creationist. But I could be wrong about that. But
I think the fossil record sort of suggests that you are.
Well, no, I think the fossil record actually gives an evidence of rapid burial very quickly in a very short period of time, which does not lend itself to long-term laying down uniformitarianism expresses. Again, this is not my area of expertise, but let me just say, I'm fairly dogmatic about it, but not super dogmatic about it. And if I'm wrong, that's not the main thing. The main thing is, did it create itself, or was it created by something else?
Sure. Okay. Well, we can delve into that. Are you of the sort of persuasion that God exists outside of space and time?
Well, time is just a measurement of contingent being changing, relating to itself. So, we measure by the movement of the if the neutrons are around a cesium atom or something. That's atomic clocks are set by that, or by the planetary movement. We measure time. So time is just a measurement of change. So change is something that denotes dependence. In other words, something changes, it's an effect. So God cannot be affected by time. Otherwise, he would not be God. He would be himself an effect. And you need to give a justification for whatever it is outside of him that brought him to his new states of being. So yes, God, by definition, logically, metaphysically speaking, must be outside of space and time, because space also limits whatever it is that it's defining.
If something exists outside of time, how long does it exist for? And how is it differential to something that doesn't exist at all?
Well, you just made a category error there.
Hmm?
You just said if something is not defined by time, how do you measure it by
If
time?
they exist outside of space and time, because space-time is a thing that's proven through physics. So if something exists outside of space and time, in what way is it able to be differentiated from something that doesn't exist at all?
Well, if it doesn't exist, then contingent being cannot exist. Would you define yourself as being self-existent or dependent in your existence?
I've never heard that question before, to be honest, and so I haven't really thought about it. Do I exist independently?
Do you need things? Yeah. Do you need things to exist?
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Okay, so the philosophical term is contingent. You're dependent in your being. Okay.
Sure.
You are an effect, right?
Yeah.
You're the effect of your parents, basically, essentially. And you've got to have water, and you've got to have sun, you've got to have nutrition and all this stuff, and you are given to change. So you yourself are an effect. Now, you can say, where'd you come from? You say, oh, I came from my parents. You say, okay. Then you say, where did your parents come from? And you keep extrapolating that back. And you cannot say that the entire universe is dependent independently, because then again, you're violating the law of identity. You're saying something cannot be both dependent and independent at the same time in the same relationship. So if there's something as contingent being, which is you the one who's asking the question, there must be something somewhere that has the attribute of self-existence. Otherwise you would not exist. Now that's not an empirical statement. That is a logical, rational, analytical proposition. And it's not something that is open to question, because it's true by definition. Are you familiar with the difference between analytical and synthetic statements?
No.
Okay, a synthetic statement is something where you're adding something to the subject of the sentence. Like you could say, the dog has a tail. All right, I'm adding tailness to the dog. And so, and it's going to necessarily be engaging in scientific endeavor where you have to experience it, in order to say the dog has a tail. But if I say something like a triangle has 3 sides, I'm not adding anything to triangleness. I'm just restating the same thing. It's a tautology, and that would be called an analytically true argument. It's a statement that is true by definition. And so, for example, causality, the principle of causality says that every effect must have a cause. Okay. And that is also an analytically true statement, because the only way that you can define effect is to invoke cause. And the only way you can define cause is to invoke effect. So to talk about an effectless... Does
that apply to God?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So
what calls God?
You didn't hear what I said. I was going to explain that, and I didn't want to go into it. Are you familiar with Bertrand Russell?
I know the name. Yeah, not familiar with the work.
Okay, he was a very famous mathematician in British in the 20th century, early 20th century,
sure.
Late 18th, early 20th, I think. He was a very intelligent. He's a very famous atheist. He has a talk where he says, "Why I'm not a Christian," and he made that same argument. And the thing is I didn't say everything must have a cause. I said every effect must have a cause. And Bertrand Russell made that same mistake his entire life. Principle of causality doesn't say that everything needs an effect. It says every effect has a cause. So anything that changes, everything that is
God's
dependent,
not an effect?
No, because then he wouldn't be God. Then you'd have to give the justification for his existence, because what caused him?
Yeah.
So if you're going to say that what caused God, you're asking the wrong question, because he is the cause and everything else is the effect. And it's necessarily true that way.
God has always existed outside space and time. That's sort of what you're working with?
Yes, that's a logical necessity, logically speaking. Okay. You've got to have something that is not subject to change or to something else in order to have anything exist. And you can't have an infinite regress of effects without causes. because again, it doesn't make any sense because you're talking about an effect without a cause, and cause and effect is analytically true. You can't have one without the other, because that's how they define them, by the other corollary to it.
Let's maybe try and swing it back a little bit more biblically. So I assume, I'm just going to make some assumptions here. You're a believer of the Bible. Do you have a Bible that you prefer or think is no good, or?
You mean like a version of the Bible?
Yeah. There's some versions where you're like, oh no, this is no good. Because I know some people are like, oh, anything that's Schofield related is heretical or something like that. Are you in that camp too, or?
No, well, I don't like Schofield, but the Schofield is not a Bible. Schofield is commentary on the Bible. I don't think he's a very good commentator.
But like, so for example,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, if you pick up a Schofield Bible, there is the footnotes and there's some commentary, and I think there's some references as well in some as well. But they're very clearly separate from the actual biblical text. So some people don't accept anything from a Schofield Bible as a reference, but I think you'll find with like a King James version, for example. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. The only versions I would not like, I don't think, because every version you have, there's like a scale, and some are more translate or trying to convey ideas, and other ones are trying to do a very wooden, literal translation of the manuscripts that we have. And so I like the ones that are more literal, even though they're not as fluid. Like my favorite version is the New American Standard Bible. I like the King James as well, though. New American Standard, New International Version is okay. I don't like the Message because it's very sloppy. It's not very careful in the way it's done. So yeah, I mean, there's some that I like more than others.
So I assume you believe that morality comes from the biblical God.
Where else would it come from? If I'm a Christian,
yeah.
I mean,
yes. Well, I just some people, everyone's got their own interpretation, So I guess, is there anything in the Bible that you think is immoral?
Many things in the Bible that are very immoral.
Yeah. Were some of those commandments of God or instructions?
No. God's commandments are immoral, but I mean, David committing, adultery with Bathsheba and then murdering her husband, that's kind of bad.
Yeah. So is God not subject to morality?
Well, no, you're speaking of morality as if it's somehow some standard that God reads in a book and says, "Hey, I better do this." That's not what morality is. Morality is an expression of who God is by definition.
Right. So his behavior would be moral in your worldview.
It cannot not be moral.
Right. So in some situations, genocide is moral.
Do you think it's immoral?
Well, I asked the question. I'll answer next.
Genocide? No, it's not immoral.
It's not immoral to kill people, an entire group of people.
Imagine you have an island of 5 people, okay, and there are only 5 people.
Why don't we just use the biblical stories because they're already there, so we don't have to imagine them.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So the many genocides that God commanded and undertook himself, are they good things, good moral things?
You're the Bible scholar. Give me an example one.
Well, the flood.
Okay. What was entailed in the flood? Why did all of the people in the world, why were they killed?
Well, is morality dependent on the situation and subjective, or is it objective and the situation is irrelevant?
You said this several times, and you said that it's subjective, but then you resort to the objective fact that the sanctity of existence is the undeniable. Now, there are some different situations for each one, whether that is right or wrong, but they're always the sanctity of existence, which doesn't make it subjective. That makes it objective.
Sorry, that killing the entire world is the preservation of life, the sanctification of life?
If every single person that was alive at the time when Noah's flood came, if every person was a pedophile that murdered the children and then ate them, would it be wrong to kill them?
Is that what was happening though?
I asked the question. Just ask it. Answer it.
Well, we're talking about something that we've got an actual story of. So
that's exactly right. We're not giving details, but I'm saying if that were the case, would that be wrong?
In my subjective worldview, would it be immoral to kill everyone on Earth?
Yes, if they were all pedophiles who ate their children.
I don't really believe in capital punishment, so I would say no.
Okay. So could you imagine something like that being a good thing? Like you believe in putting violent people away against their will, right?
Yeah, in certain situations, sure.
Okay. Do you have a reason for that other than your personal emotive?
It's
motivation?
My subjectivity. Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't. So you don't. It's just like eating ice cream. So you like certain flavors of ice cream. So you have no reason for your perspective. And yet God says that there is a standard, which is his holy standard, and it's reasonable for him to do it, but you don't like it.
Well, it's reasonable to who? God?
Yes, because he is the one who is the foundation of reason itself.
Okay, so then why did he make it that way?
What do you mean?
Well, he made it so that everyone would be pedophiles and then need to be killed.
Well, actually, he ordained that sin enter the world, but have you ever had something in your life, Parrhesia, that was very difficult for you, and it was a struggle that you suffered from and made you a better person?
In some situations, sure.
Okay. Everybody always says immediately, yeah, sure. All right. When you go to see a movie, what are you going to see?
Well, I think I asked a pretty straightforward question.
And I'm answering it. I'm answering it indirectly, but I'm answering it.
Okay.
What do you find pleasure in seeing when you go to see a movie? Are you familiar with the Aristotelian organization of plot theme? You have protagonist, antagonist,
if it's
conflict.
entertaining, if I can suspend my disbelief and get sucked into the story.
Well, even if it's something that's a true story, you're going to see the battle of evil and good, generally speaking, and good triumphing over evil, and you see the resolution in the end. You're going, in a sense, to go see evil. You're going to see.
I don't know if
there's part of the process.
Mm.
Let me give you.
Is evil? Does evil have a supernatural element to it?
What do you mean? Like,
well, because I mean,
or something, or
a lot of people say evil is like a force. It is like a supernatural force. People are possessed by evil spirits, or evil has entered them. Is evil supernatural, or is it just the way that we describe something that's there where the word bad doesn't quite cut it?
Well, the Bible says that there are basically three forces: the world, the flesh, and the devil. So we have a fallen nature as humans, and then we've got those around us that influence us for bad things, and then there's the devil. There is a fallen angel in a spirit realm that does have influence upon us.
Okay, so evil it has a supernatural element to it.
It can.
Well, how do we determine when it does and when it doesn't?
Well, when we are led by our own wicked desires to do what we do not want to do. Do you ever do that?
I don't know what you mean by a wicked desire.
Have you ever done something you're ashamed of?
No.
You want to try again?
No, I have no
You've
shame.
You've never had to say I'm sorry for something.
I've apologized for wrongdoing.
Were you ashamed of that? Oh, come on, man! Come on! Not. Oh, come on!
I have a pretty solid sense of self-worth. It's rare that I get embarrassed, to be honest. I can't really remember the last time that's ever happened.
Have you ever looked at a woman to lust for her? If it's not yours.
Yeah, of course.
Do you like that?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't feel bad with your mate that you go around lusting after other women when you're with her?
No, if I walk along and I see an attractive woman and enjoy seeing an attractive woman and I'm holding my missus' hand, I don't feel bad at all.
Okay, if you have impure thoughts about that person, Do you think your lady would like that?
Well, when you say impure, I assume you mean like, do I
Sexual
have
thoughts.
I don't think she cares. No.
Okay, so you guys are fine with lusting after other people while you're with each other, and you're not ashamed of that, and you think you're a good person.
Sexual attraction is again
I'm
just
not
like
talking about just sexual attraction. I'm talking about fantasizing things that you shouldn't.
Oh, you mean like, do I walk down the street and look at a woman and then start like undressing? Terminology with that, you presumably mean unclean as in a sin, but I don't believe in sin. So you'd have to show that sin exists.
Do you think that you're a holy person?
I don't think that anyone is a holy person.
A good person?
I think I'm a decent person.
No, I'm talking about faultless.
No, of course not.
Okay, so you do things that you're ashamed of then. I mean, I don't know why you're fighting this so much. All of us do it. I mean, just be honest.
Okay, well, for the sake of the argument, sure, yeah.
Okay, so you're ashamed of things that you do, and I forgot where I was going with that. What are we talking about? The moral law. We all do things that we know we should not do,
well,
and we are ashamed of them because we are fallen creatures. We know there's a standard that we don't meet. I've talked to so many atheists, and I always ask this question. I said, you don't believe in moral law, you don't believe in God or anything like that. Do you have your own moral standard that you have for yourself in your own mind? And they would say yes. And then I ask them, do you keep that standard? Every single time, immediately they say, no, I don't. Is that the same with you?
Sure, yeah, I could improve, yeah.
Okay, all right. So even by your own standard, you don't measure up to what you know you should be.
Sure.
Okay.
But I'm not a utopian.
Well, right, because you would be utterly lost of all hope if you were.
Because
you're so messed up.
I reject the notion of utopia. I think it's an anti-human concept.
Yeah, because it's unattainable, right?
Well, no, because it means by definition that all human progress ceases from that point, that we never try to do anything else ever again.
Right.
I think that's not in our nature.
No, it's not in our nature. Because we are fallen, because we are fallible. We do not do what we know we should do. And people who say that there's a utopia end up being dictators, right?
Yeah, like Jesus.
Jesus was a dictator?
Wants to be.
Really? How so?
Yeah. Well, what's the culmination of Christianity?
You're a dictator is someone who takes authority for themselves that they don't deserve.
Well, no. A dictator is a unelected leader who cannot be removed through democratic means.
Right, because all men are equal. Do you agree with that?
No.
You don't believe all men are equal?
No.
They don't have human rights?
People have human rights to a point.
Okay.
That's why we have jails.
Okay.
Which I agree with.
So when someone treats another without dignity, say to take their life, then they should be punished for it?
Hang on. What is the culmination of Christianity? Jesus Christ returns?
Yes, a glorified state where sin is eradicated and we're all set free from sin.
Where does he return to? Where does he return to?
The earth.
Zion, yeah. Atop the Mount of Olives, yeah.
Probably. I'm not too dogmatic about that, but I think so.
Okay. Yep. Well, I mean but to earth he returns, and then what is earth? What happens to earth? It's his kingdom, right?
Yes, it will be refashioned into
his kingdom. So he is king of the world, unelected, can't be voted out.
Again, no, you're presupposing that all men are equal, and Jesus is a peer among us. He's not that. He's the creator of all things. He's the one that gives you this very moment that you can blink your eyes and speak with me. You should be.
Well, I mean, that's your working theory, which we've yet to sort of put to the test, and we can get to that in a minute. But according to the biblical text, Jesus returns and is a celestial dictator here on earth, right?
No, he's not a dictator. No, he's not.
How do you vote
this earth will be destroyed, and a new heaven and a new earth will be made, according to the Bible.
Sure, but he'll rule over that, right?
Yes, because he is God.
Right. And is there any way to remove him from office?
Why would we want to remove him when
That's irrelevant. Is there an ability to do it?
No, because he's not a
he's
peer.
a dictator. So he's a dictator.
Okay. Are you hearing what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you're not hearing what I'm saying.
You are saying that everybody is equal and everybody should be able to vote as an equal to somebody who is in power, but Jesus is not a human that is on equal par with us.
Okay, whether he is a god or whether he is man or a combination of the two, the point that I'm making is the culmination of Christianity is an entity becomes king of the world, unelected, no one will vote for it, and then he's unremovable.
King of the world now, Parrhesia.
Well, in your worldview, I don't share that worldview.
Okay, but it doesn't matter whether you like it or not. If he is king, he's king, and my wishing it doesn't make it true, and you're denying it doesn't make it not true. Do you agree with that?
No.
Oh, really? So you believe you can make reality just by wishing it?
Well, I reject the premise that the God of the Bible is like a real thing. It's just myth.
Yes,
like Harry Potter is myth.
Yes, but so what? Because you wish it not to be, does that make it not true?
No, but just because you wish it is true doesn't make it true.
That's exactly right. How do you justify your contingent existence?
What do you mean?
Please give me an answer. Don't go beating around the bush. How do you justify your dependent existence instantiating non-contingently? In other words, how did you make yourself if in fact you are the ultimate reality?
Well, I don't think I'm the ultimate reality.
What is then?
I made myself. I don't. Okay, so here's the example I'll give you. My rejection of your worldview and the mythology that you base it on. If I reject that, it's not, the onus is not on me to replace and give you a new worldview. That's not how this works.
No, you need to demonstrate what's wrong with my argument, though. Would you agree with that?
If
I give you an argument and you say I reject your argument, you've got to give me a rebuttal. And this is what people don't want to do. They just want to say, well, I don't know.
Sure. I can give you a rebuttal to why the God of the Bible is not real.
Well, okay. It starts out as creator. Start there.
So, sorry. Start where, sorry?
With he's creator. Start there. Demonstrate how you can have creation without a creator.
Okay. And again, so just because I reject your worldview.
No. You cannot tell me I don't know. I told you cannot have an effect without a cause, right?
All right. Let me put it to you like this. If I give you a sandwich with sprinkles on it and say this will cure your cancer, what do you say to that?
Let's test it.
Really? If you're suffering from cancer and you would run the risk of eating,
try it?
Why wouldn't you try it?
Yes.
Really? If you went into a doctor and they said, here, you've got colon cancer, have this white bread, butter and sprinkle sandwich, fairy bread we call it here, have this fairy bread and that'll cure your colon cancer. Would you go, oh, absolutely, I'll try that? Or would you go,
why wouldn't I?
Well, because you're an intelligent person and obviously eating sprinkles doesn't cure cancer.
Well, sprinkles might have a medicine in it that has been discovered to cure cancer.
Well,
oh my gosh.
So
why wouldn't you try it?
Well, of course you wouldn't try it because it's your health and you wouldn't take those sorts of silly gambles with your health if you were suffering a serious medical
Why
condition.
is eating sprinkles a gamble?
So why is it a gamble? Well, because we already know that sprinkles don't cure cancer.
What's in the sprinkles, Parrhesia?
Just sprinkles. It's sugar
How
and
do you
food
know?
coloring. Well, because we already know that those two things don't cure cancer.
Even if I thought it was silly and a doctor would tell me to do it, I'd try it. Why not?
Well, I mean, I'm not. I thought you were smarter than that, man. I thought you'd be a little bit more intelligent than that.
So why are you so afraid to try things out?
If I said to you that this will cure cancer, and you obviously would say, no, I'd like a second opinion, or I think that is not going to cure my cancer.
What is the risk?
Well, then that your cancer would get worse and not be treated.
Okay, if it's something that I knew could possibly make cancer to get worse, and there's no empirical data for this particular thing, then I might not take it. But if my doctor tells me, hey, we got this new just like right now, I just read an article. Do you know that the sting from a honeybee, I can't remember the chemical in there, attacks the most aggressive form of breast cancer?
Yeah.
In fact, they're testing in Australia right now. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah. So
okay, so what it says,
however,
hey, this bee sting can heal your cancer. I wouldn't waste my time with that.
We already know what sprinkles are made out of, and we already know that those things don't improve your cancer diagnosis. So if you then turn around and say to the doctor, actually, sprinkles aren't going to help my colon cancer, the onus is not on you to explain what the cure for cancer is. So when I say to you, I don't believe in your creation story, the onus is not on me to then explain to you exactly how the world and all of the universe was created. That's not how this works. That's not how any discussion works. So you say, based on absolutely nothing else.
Why can I doubt the sprinkles?
Sorry?
You're completely making my point, my friend. Why would I doubt the sprinkles healing my cancer?
Why would you doubt the sprinkles?
Yeah.
Well, because you very clearly have basic intelligence and you know what sprinkles are made out of.
So I can demonstrate to the doctor that it's a placebo and it doesn't do anything.
Well, I mean, a placebo means that you're unaware that it's a placebo. That's how that works.
Well, he's trying to tell me it's going to do something, and I can say, no, it's a placebo.
Right. So by definition,
so it doesn't work with me.
If you know
placebos
that
are
something
sugar
is,
pills.
Yeah, that's right. If you know that something in a placebo test, the people don't know whether they got the actual medicine or the placebo. If you know it's the placebo, then by definition, it's not a placebo test.
Okay, so tell me how my argument is a placebo. That's your job, and you're not doing it. You actually made my point for me.
I'm not saying that your position is a placebo. I'm just rejecting
You're saying
it
it's false. Yeah, and you got to tell me why. You got to give me a reason. That's how debate works. You can't can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to say there's some category X that I don't know that's called." Are you familiar with Occam's razor?
I'm happy to explain it. Sure. Okay. So the information about the God of the Bible exists exclusively.
I'm not talking about the God of the Bible right now. I'm talking about the God of creation. This is different.
Yeah, well, that's what you believe, though, right?
Yes, but I am saying first he is a creator, so you need to demonstrate to me how you can justify contingent being existing non-contingently.
I'm sure that's how you'd like to have the conversation, but the conversation that we're having is about your claim that objective morality exists. It is based on God, and that God is found in the Bible. So we're going to talk about the Bible.
No, that's fine. I'm not saying it's not the God of the Bible, but I'm saying in Romans 1, the God of the Bible starts out as creator. Demonstrate to me how you can justify existence of contingent being happening without a creator.
Okay, and again, I'm not here to explain to you how the universe came to be. I'm here to...
So you can't do it. Just be honest. Say I can't do it.
No, I cannot tell you how the universe came to be.
And you can't rebut my argument. And you're saying I'm wrong, though.
I can rebut your argument of
okay, let's hear it.
The God of the Bible. Yeah, sure. So the God of the Bible exists exclusively in the Bible. There's no external references to it. There's no information that supports the claims of the Bible. They are extraordinary claims. They require extraordinary evidence. The information that we have about the God of the Bible doesn't match up to the perceived description of that God, all-knowing, all-loving, all-powerful. You can just read the Bible to show that that's not the case. So why would I believe it?
So you can't answer.
That was my answer.
You didn't give an answer. How do you justify contingent being creating itself?
Okay. You can keep trying to ask me to prove how the universe came into existence, right? And I will keep telling you straight up.
It's a logical necessity.
And I will keep telling you straight up that I do not know. That fact of me not knowing how the universe came into existence is not proof of your biblical God.
No, it's not. But you haven't rebutted my argument.
What is the argument?
Saying I don't know is not an argument.
No, I'm saying I don't know to your question of how did the universe come to be.
How does it come to be without the agency of self-existent being?
So again, that still falls into the category of how did the universe come to be? And I've told you, I don't know.
Okay, so is it possible for the universe to create itself?
So again, that's just another way of asking how did the universe come into
existence?
No,
it's a yes or no question. Is it possible for something to create itself before it exists?
Is it possible for something to create itself before it exists?
Mm-hmm.
Like the universe?
Yeah.
Right. So that's just another way of asking.
It's called self-creation. Is self-creation
That's just another way of asking how. And I'm going to give you the exact same answer every single time until you let go of this dogma. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I got to let go because I'm not allowed to ask the question.
You can ask whatever question you want, but I mean, asking the exact same question over and over again, which I've already answered and acknowledged my lack of knowledge there, which is a very good faith thing of doing. I could pretend like you're doing, like but that's
all
not
I'm doing
who
is appealing to logic, Parrhesia. I'm not guessing. I'm not imposing. All I'm saying is something cannot create itself before it exists, and we're not self-existent.
Do we have a full and complete, comprehensive understanding of the universe?
Nobody does.
Right. Oh, there you go. So there's obviously stuff about our universe that we don't know. Mm-hmm. That may, I'm not saying it does, but that may hold some of the answers that we're looking for.
You're violating Occam's razor.
What I'm saying,
you aren't allowed to add complexity to an argument just so you can win it. You're saying, oh, there's this unnamed factor X that might come into existence that might help me out.
No, we both agree. We both agree that there are unknown factors to the universe, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Does that impact the reality that we experience?
Sure.
Yeah. There you go. So we're in agreement.
Yes, but just because there are things that we don't know because we're not omniscient doesn't mean that we can't reason at a basic level with logic.
Yeah, sure. Based on what we know at the time. And what I'm saying right now is that myself personally, and it seems like everyone else, doesn't have a full and complete answer for how the universe came to be.
Okay, that's fine. You know what? Listen, it's 10:30 here. I need to go to bed, and I got to get and go to work tomorrow. What time is it there?
It's 2:30 in the afternoon.
Okay, all right. So I am gonna let you go, my friend.
Well, just very, very, very quickly before we do.
Sure.
Is there any evidence of the miracles that are performed in the Bible?
Well, you can't verify through archaeology miracles, right?
So that's no?
Well, no, we can't. Not with the scientific method. There's no mechanism for it.
Oh, okay. So we don't know.
The whole purpose of a miracle is to verify that the person who is speaking is speaking for God.
Is it? Is that why Jesus healed the blind, to show that he was speaking for God?
Yes, that he was God himself. Yes, that his message had authority.
Okay.
So that's the whole purpose of miracles, is to verify the message, and that's why
we don't have any.
We don't have miracle workers today because we're not having more revelation from God.
So God doesn't interact with the world today?
Oh, sure he does. Yeah, it doesn't.
But that
last blink was a gift from God for you that you just made.
Is that not a miracle?
No, there really isn't a word for miracle in the Bible. It's either signs, wonders, or power.
Sure, but in the common lexicon that we use today.
Yeah, I do not believe miracles exist today. I believe that we have.
Is the blink not a miracle?
No, that would be what's called an ordinary providence. God's providence in us, and just like aspirin would be an ordinary providence. Things that we can get through science is ordinary providence. But then you also have extraordinary providences where God supernaturally intervenes, and I do believe that happens as well. He could heal somebody. I still believe in healing today, but I just don't believe there are miracle workers like those people on TV. They're all liars and charlatans.
So sorry, like if someone is sick and they pray and they get healed, that's not a miracle?
I don't like the word miracle. I don't like using it in our day because it's a sign. It's a sign to something beyond itself. But the miracles today are not signs. They're just beneficence and beneficence from God, kindnesses
It's
from
it's
God.
what from God? It's what from God?
Beneficence, kindnesses that he gives us when we call out
Okay.
to him and he helps us.
But
But
only
a
sometimes.
miracle is a sign. It points to something beyond itself. For example, you're familiar with the sacrificial lamb and when the Israelites left Egypt, you know?
Yeah, Jesus'
Yeah,
sacrificial lamb.
it pointed to something beyond itself. That was a sign. And so we've got signs all over the place in the Bible, but we don't have God giving us signs to point to something because the final revelation of God is Jesus himself. So we're not having these signs coming about. And and that's what a miracle is. It points to something beyond itself. So I believe that we have extraordinary providences where God supernaturally intervenes for us, but they're not the same as a miracle because they're not pointing to some, new scripture that's being written or something like that.
Sure. What term would you use for a healing from God today? Magic?
No, I was saying extraordinary providence.
Okay, extraordinary providence. So does God do that today?
Yeah, sure. That's why I call it that for today.
Okay. And why does he only do it sometimes?
I don't know. What
I thought
difference
I
does
don't
that
know
make?
wasn't an answer.
No, we agreed that there are things we don't know, remember?
Yeah, we did agree. I had to milk it out of you though.
No, you didn't. No, you
Yes,
asked
I
me.
had
You
to.
asked me one time. You said, "Are there things in the universe we don't understand?" And I laughed and said, "Yes, of course."
Yeah.
You didn't have to milk it out of me.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, so
Okay, well, I'll
you
let you
don't
go.
know.
I'm sorry. Go
You know,
ahead. We can
yeah,
continue.
you don't know why God chooses to heal some people, but lets other people get bone cancer.
Well, we have a fallen world because of sin.
Yeah, but that's what God wanted.
Well, he ordained it, but he did not cause it. He made use of
Yeah, of
secondary
course he did.
causality of Adam.
Yeah, no, you've already said that that the creator is the causation of everything. That's what you said earlier.
No, he causes.
He is the causation.
Okay,
That's what you said.
then there's no culpability for
Right,
anybody.
right.
But that's not what I believe.
Well, that's what you said.
No, it's not what I said.
Well, okay, is God the causation of all things?
He created all things, and he
Well, you said
ordained.
causation
He
before.
or Have you ever heard of Felix Culpa? It's Saint Augustine. I don't know if you ever heard of
Okay,
him.
hang on. Did he, or does he not cause all things?
He causes all things to be, and he
Right.
ordains that there be
So
evil.
he causes sin, he causes rebellion, he causes death, he causes
No,
disease.
he makes
Yeah.
use of secondary causality in those things. Because if you can't, then there can be no culpability. You're just not wanting to have culpability. That's why you're doing this.
No. Your God doesn't want us to have culpability. That's how he made it. He made everything predetermined.
Which is what the devil told Eve in the garden too.
Sure, maybe he was the
He
good
did
guy.
ordain it. I will grant you that he ordained that there be such a thing as evil, but he used the
Yeah, he
secondary
caused it.
causality of Adam's free will in order
But he
to bring about
designed
sin.
it that way. He knew that
Yes,
was going to happen, and
yes.
he chose
He
that
ordained it.
option.
Yes, I said he ordained it.
He has infinite options of worlds that he can create.
No, he
But he
doesn't. He doesn't
chose.
have any options.
Of course, he
God,
does.
God doesn't go to the store and say,
Is he
where
not
shall
all
I go?
powerful?
I'm sorry?
Is he not all powerful? Could he not have created the world where human beings had blue skin instead of the skin color we have?
That's a very speculative question. I personally don't think so. Because again,
Okay, then he's not all powerful.
what do you mean?
Well, if there's limitations to his power, then he's not
No,
all
no.
powerful.
If he could do something
Yeah.
different, then he's contingent upon this store that he goes to shop for blue skin. You see that? There's a problem there.
No, he doesn't go to the store. He creates. He is the causation.
Okay,
He
but
is the creation.
where is he making these choices from?
Himself.
Okay, is he a composite or is he simple?
I don't know. I don't think
Anything
he's
that's
even real.
composed. Okay, I'm anything that's composed of parts requires a composer, so he has to be simple.
Well, maybe, but it's still the issue still remains. This is everything that's happening right now is exactly the way that your God wanted it to be.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So he's the cause of everything.
He ordains
So
all things.
all of the suffering, all of the pain, all of the injustice. That's exactly the way that your God wanted it.
Yes, and for
Right.
which you have nothing to complain about because you don't believe in such things.
Well, no, I don't. I don't believe in it, and that's part of the reason why would you worship a God like that? Gives children bone cancer.
Well, the reason
Especially
there's
when
bone
it's
cancer is
optional.
because of sin in mankind, but also
But
there is a
that's,
long-term.
again, take it back a step. That's because of God, your God, that you worship.
That is exactly right. Do you know what?
Right.
Do you know what courage
So
is?
don't try and shirk the responsibility to fallen man when God predetermined and knew and designed it exactly that way. God designed the world to fall so that he could curse them with sin. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it that way.
No, that he could glorify himself through the expression of justice and mercy.
All right, so he's an egomaniac. So he tortures all these people so he can be glorified. Even less reason to worship him.
Is that so you're saying that God is sinning?
I don't believe in sin, no.
Okay, then what are you saying then? It's so funny how you complain about what God does and then say, "Oh, but there is no standard."
No, what I'm saying is that your God that you believe in is an amoral egomaniac that tortures people.
What do you mean by amoral?
It means he is not a moral person. He engages in bad behavior. Well, the standard is subjective, and according to my personal worldview,
okay, then you're saying nothing. You're just saying
giving children
God likes
bone
broccoli
cancer.
Ice cream, I like chocolate
God
ice cream.
giving bone cancer to children is not a good thing, but you think it is a good thing. That's where we differ.
Well, yeah, but you don't have any reason to say that it's
wrong. See, that's the thing. So, like, whatever your worldview is, that you've come to the conclusion that children with bone cancer is a good thing, like you just said, I am opposed to that.
Okay, I did not say that children having bone cancer. Let me give you a quote from Jonathan Edwards. He's a famous.
No. You did just say it, and I really hope it's recorded because you did just say that.
It is recorded, and it will be on my page.
Good, because you did just say that.
All right, can I give you the quote?
Yeah, sure. I got to wrap it up in a sec, but yeah, sure.
How is it that God can be happy and decree calamity? Well, consider that he has the capacity to view the world through two lenses. Through the narrow one, he is both grieved and angered at sin and suffering. But through the wide one, he sees evil in relation to its eternal purposes. Like a mosaic, the individual is ugly, but the whole is beautiful.
Yeah, God likes evil things.
No, he hates them, but he has an eternal purpose and his long-term benefit.
Well, he didn't have to do that. If he's all-powerful and all-knowing and omnipotent, then he didn't have to do it this way. There were other options.
That he does, because there's no justice.
If he didn't have to do it this way, then why do it? Well, obviously because that's what he wanted. He wanted these evil things.
Well, he want is a term of need, but he ordained and chose according to his perfections. Yes.
Right. So all of the suffering, it's optional. It didn't have to happen.
No, I think it did have to happen.
Well, that's okay. Well, then, so are you saying that the God of the Bible is incapable of creating a world without suffering?
In my view, yes, because it would not be the expression of all that he is. Let me finish.
Then he's not all powerful.
Yes. If he did not create it the way he was, then he would not be able to express himself as righteous, judge, and holy God. There would be no such thing as courage or mercy. Mercy requires evil. Courage requires evil. Fortitude requires evil. And so to express the fullness of who he is, it has to be this way. It's only makes sense.
One sec.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to have to make a move, mate. I'm just doing the school run at the moment, but it was great to chat to you. I'd really love to do it again at some point. You're a good, decent guy, and enjoyed it. You introduced me to some concepts that I was not yet familiar with, and if you can DM me some of those terms and maybe a little bit of literature, I'd love to have a little read at some point, if that's cool.
Yeah, that'd be great. You're very kind and very stimulating and a great challenge, and I appreciate the conversation.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I'll chat to you sometime soon. I appreciate it. Thanks,
all right,
mate.
we'll see you.
How do I hang up? All right, bye-bye.